Want to find out how to defeat Ricochet, Weasel, and Dizzy in the Divisions 2 raid Operation Dark Hours? Well, in today's video, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to defeat the second boss in the raid and get an additional chance of getting that most coveted Eagle Bear. As of this is LaserBolt. Today we're going to be taking a look at how to defeat Dizzy, Weasel, and Ricochet. Now, one thing I do want to remind you guys, if you're probably watching this video, you probably defeated Boomer. Now, I know some people have been skipping bosses. If you haven't defeated Boomer, highly recommend you guys check out my guide on how to defeat Boomer. In addition to that, guys, if you haven't defeated Boomer, or if you did and you're already here, double check that you picked up the raid key, the secret raid key. If you don't know where that's located, highly recommend you check out my video on the first raid key location. I will leave both videos in the description down below and also on the end cards on the top. Now, if all of this sounds like something you guys are definitely interested in, a like rating would be greatly appreciated. Let's try to get this video to 200 likes, but without further ado, let's talk about how to defeat these three bosses. Now, before we dive in, I do have a question for you guys. How hard was it to kill Boomer? Was it easy? Was it normal, or was it hard? Let me know in the comment section down below. After you made your way down the hallway, you're going to be presented with a room that overlooks a hangar that has a plain ride dab in the middle. If you look to your left, you're going to notice that there's going to be a wall that has a big letter A. If you look to your right, there's going to be a wall that has a big letter B. And this is going to represent A room and B room. Both of these rooms are completely identical. What you will need to do is divide yourself in a team of 4. The best way to divide yourself is definitely spreading it out based on the amount of damage. You want to make sure that both rooms have almost the same or equal amount of damage output on both teams. If all of you have really good gear, then just divide yourselves based on the color. Blue goes one side and green would go on another. Your main objective when separating or dividing the team is making sure that both sides have the same equal amount of DPS that they're outputting. Once you divided yourself into teams, you are going to need to assign roles. We're going to go over the roles, and then I'm going to explain how each role is done within this encounter. So the first thing we need to do is assign one person to be in charge of computers and also the sniper. This is going to be the person that has the least amount of DPS, because that person, its main objective is only to hit the computers and to also kill the sniper. The second role we need someone to kite the boss or train the boss around the pole. So this person's going to need to be extremely tanky and be able to take a couple of hits. So you're going to want to make sure you put that person in charge of kiting or training the boss. The last 2 spots are going to be filled with the people that have the most DPS value. So the person who has the most damage to elites, the more weapon damage, that is the person you're going to want to assign for role A and role B. These are the 2 people that are going to be primarily doing the most damage to the boss. Now remember, the same roles that you assigned for one team is also going to have to be assigned for team on the opposite side. So team A is going to have the same roles, team B is going to have the same roles. Now that you have already assigned the roles, let's talk about what each role will be needing to do within the raid. So let's get started off with role number 1, which is computers. If you're in charge of the computers, this is what you will need to know. There's going to be a total of 3 computers in front of the plane on room A and also on room B. One of these panels is going to be lit green, and that's going to say waiting. It's going to be your objective, if you have the green panel, to relay which panel is lit green to the other side of the room. So the most effective way to actually do this is by assigning a name to the panel. So what we're going to be doing is, since the plane is facing forward, we're going to assign the panel that's closer to the tail of the plane. We're going to call that back panel. We're going to call the middle panel, and we're going to call the front panel, front panel. So whenever you see a green panel and you see that that panel is lit green, you would say back panel, front panel, or middle panel. That way the person on the opposite side knows which panel to go and interact with. Now the interesting thing about this is both of you will need to press the panel at the same time. So the best and most effective way to do this is the person that sees the green panel will call out front panel or front. They will head to the panel. The person on the opposite side will head to the other panel and say ready. Once you say ready, the person that has the green panel will say go. when that person says go, you will automatically both press the panel at the same time. If you're not able to actually get this off at the same time, the panels will be lit red and you will need to do this interaction once again. Now I know what you're probably thinking, Laser, what is the point of actually interacting with these panels? Well, let me tell you. Because what these panels will do, it's going to let you swap the gases that spawn with the encounter. Now you're going to notice once you start the encounter, there's one room's going to have purple gas and one room is going to have orange gas. The purple gas will reduce the amount that your bullets deal. The orange gas will give you a debuff that will increase the damage that you deal to the boss. So the reason why you need to interact with each computer is because one room's going to have the debuff and one room's going to have the buff. You want to make sure that both rooms are having the debuff and the buff at the same time, and you're probably wondering why. As you guys notice on the screen, you're able to see the health bar of both bosses. It is going to be very fundamental that you kill both bosses at the same time. If you're not able to perform the kill of both bosses at the same time, it is going to be extremely hard to kill the last boss, which is Weasel, if these both bosses are not killed at the same time. So you're going to want to make sure you coordinate with the team that you're playing with, that you're bouncing the debuff and the buff frequently, so both teams are being able to deal the same amount of damage to each individual boss and allowing them to kill them at the same time. If for some reason one team is doing more damage, then the other team is going to have to compensate and slow down the damage they're doing to the other boss so they could both have the same amount of health when it's time to actually kill them. My suggestion for this is to change and alternate the computers as frequently as you possibly can. There are two ways to do it. One is to count to 15 Mississippis and then click the panel, or the other way is to interact with the computers as soon as they turn green to change the debuff and the buff at the same time very rapidly. Now that's going to be primarily up to your team and what you feel is more effective. The last thing that you need to be in charge if you're in charge of the computers is taking out the sniper that spawns on top of the window. From when you start this encounter, you're going to notice that the boss is going to jump out of the window. Within that window, the sniper will be there. Your job is to actually also kill this sniper. Now, one thing I want to let you guys know is sometimes this sniper does drop down to the floor, so you want to make sure you keep an eye on that. Another thing you got to keep an eye out is making sure you let your team know when you have aggro, because you will be getting aggroed and it's going to be very difficult for you to hit the computer if you are targeted by the boss. So make sure you say, I am aggroed, so your other teammates who are doing other roles know that they need to get that aggro off of you. Speaking of aggro, role number 2 is the person who is training the boss. Now, if you are part of the training crew, your job is going to make sure that the boss is always focused on you. And the best way to do this is to actually train or kite the boss around this pillar that's within the middle. It's actually a very easy mechanic to do. You just want to make sure that you're constantly healing, keeping an eye on the fact that you are, you're taking damage and you want to make sure you're healing. And you also want to make sure that you're shooting the boss as well as you're moving around this pillar. Remember, you're going to be getting stunned a lot and blind, so make sure you coordinate accordingly. And if the person is doing their job correctly and killing the sniper, it's not a very difficult job. Now remember, the aggro will sometimes bounce off of you, so the other person who gets that aggro will also need to run to the pillar to get that aggro back for you, so you guys could definitely go ahead and just keep kiting him and looping him around. The last 2 roles is just pretty much a DPS roles, guys. Your main role is to kill the boss as fast as you possibly can, get as much headshot damage, much damage to elites as you possibly can, and just lay on the boss as most effectively as you can. If you guys get targeted in aggro, then just head over to the pole, and the person that will be kiting the boss will get that aggro off of you guys, so he could keep doing his job, and you guys could just keep shooting the boss as well. At the same time, make sure at least one of your teammates is keeping an eye on the health of the boss, so you guys could coordinate with the opposite side of killing them both at the same time. Once you've knocked down the shield of Dizzy and Ricochet, now it's time to actually melt them down and take them out. And take them out at the same time. Now, once both of them die, you guys have completed part 1. Now it's on to part number 2. Part number 2, it's actually kind of very similar, just in the sense that 2 things are going to be changing. One, the plane is going to lift up, and it's going to allow Team B or Team A to move and open freely to move to any side of the room. In addition to that, a boss is going to spawn in called Weasel, who is also has a big LNG, has one rocket thing that kind of targets you like a guided missile, and also has thumpers. So he is pretty deadly. That's why it's very important to kill the two main mini bosses first, so that way you just deal with one big boss. Now of course your team is going to have to decide which side they want to go with. I would highly recommend you guys head over to the A side because it's a very big space and it allows you to go hide, have different cover in different areas, and it's going to allow you to kind of train or kite the boss a little bit. In addition to that, guys, remember the rooms are going to be alternating smoke. One side's going to get orange, one side's going to get purple. You want to make sure you're keeping an eye out when he is on the orange side, because you want to make sure that is the time you lay as much firepower as you possibly can on him. When that side turns purple, you want to remember that's going to give you a debuff, so you won't be able to do too much damage to him. This is a time when you should be throwing grenades, healing yourself, and just running around trying to avoid from him aggroing you. Now keep in mind, guys, if you do get aggro, you do not want to be close to your teammates. So as soon as you see the red eye on you, you want to make sure you get as far away as your teammates, just run around in circles to avoid the him shooting the thumper or shooting that guided missile and you causing your teammates to die because you are too close to them. Once you keep following these instructions, you will be able to actually kill him, and he is gonna drop loot for you guys, and hopefully at least one of you guys got that eagle bear you guys so desired. If you didn't, well, now it's time to take out on Buddy and Lucy, which I will have a guide for as well. I do hope you did find this video helpful and informative. If you did, guys, do me the huge favor, drop a like, share this video with your friends, because that does help me out a lot. If you're new to the channel, do consider subscribing and turning on those notifications when you subscribe so you guys can get notified when Division 2 videos go live. If you are already a subscriber, just double check that you guys have that notification bell ticked so you guys can also be notified when Division 2 videos go live. I will have you guys completely covered with everything within the Division 2. In addition to that, guys, if you want to show some love and support and want to become part of the Bolt Nation, click on the join button right next to the subscribe button down below and join the Bolt Nation, guys. We have exclusive monthly giveaways and have some amazing features for you guys that you're definitely going to want to make sure you guys tap into. So once again, the join button next to the subscribe button. Thank you guys for watching, and don't forget WGATAP, and I will catch you guys on the next video.